Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
Good afternoon, good morning. My name is Andrew Chabdos here with my cousin Alexa Lavoie from Quebec. How are you, Alexa?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. It's finally nice to be on the show with you. Rebel News Daily live streams. You can send us paid chats on Rumble as Rumble Rants, Odyssey, and Super U. All of paid chat functions, as well as we're live on Getter and Twitter. We'll have to probably get off YouTube at some point when things get too controversial. Alexa, what's on your mind today? How are you feeling?
How I'm feeling exhausted to finish like this full month of Freedom Convoy, but it's not finished. People need to understand that so much is going on, like the consequences of everything. It's like a tornado right now.
Yes, and the leader, or one of the leaders, Tamara Lich, is in court right now for her bail hearing. I'm hearing weird things like she arrived in shackles and they were ordered to be taken off of her, and the Crown and the and the police didn't want to do it because she's so very dangerous, obviously. So it's obviously a little weird there, acting like how much of a hardened criminal and a threat she is. I believe we've been following lawyer David Anber on Twitter, who's live tweeting the event. If we want to pull up a few of his tweets right now, we can read some of them so everybody can get an up-to-date look at what's going on there. Do we have that? Okay, we'll have that up in a second. Alexa, what did you think? You interviewed her very early on, and some of the other trucker members. What did you think when you first saw them getting arrested? Did you think they'd be in jail for this long? What did you think the charges might be? Did you think they might get unfair treatment, Alexa?
I would say, like, first of all, Tamara Lich, she's not like a criminal. Like, maybe her crime was to have back her freedom and to help other people to get back and have their freedom back. She's really a sweet lady, and I would never think that she would be arrested for as long as she is right now, and deny bail as well. But when we look at other who was the organizer are back home and she's still in jail, her crime was what? To create a GoFundMe to help the trucker with their fee. I just don't understand why she's still in jail right now, and she's still fighting for having just a bail out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even like a trial.
No, exactly. We're just fighting for bail right now, or they're just fighting for bail, excuse me. Judge orders shackles to remove. This is what I was talking about from Lich, as she does not pose a safety risk. Police didn't want to, and Crown, after the fact, agreed with defense request, but it's been ordered. Like, just to bring her out in shackles. First of all, why are there no cameras in this courtroom? I don't understand why this isn't done more often in Canada, where we'd publicize trials. I mean, we saw the Rittenhouse trial and the George Floyd trials all on camera. Lich is now testifying. You want to click on this one? Lich is now testifying. She's adopted her affidavit filed from this hearing, attesting to being a suitable candidate for release. Now the Crown is cross-examining her in order to try and discredit her and the affidavit. What were you going to say, Alexa?
Just because I was listening in the trial just before, and they actually tried to find the small thing to try to discredit her, to try to find some. I don't know if I can talk actually from what they were saying, but they are talking to really non-important thing to try to find some place where she's lying, but the fact is she's not lying. What she was saying is like all the truth. But it's just so funny that they used to try to own the food that they were consuming. You know, a really, really small, specific thing. And I think that is just unappropriated. But I'm not the lawyer.
All of our reporters who are on the ground there, including yourself, have good things to say about her. Of course, everybody has conspiracies that other people work for the government. They don't think that about her. She seems to be a normal person, and they're putting her in solitary confinement. I believe producer Efron told me because she's unvaccinated, so she can't be around the rest of the prison population or the jail population, whichever one it is. So they're really treating her as if she's some sort of hardened criminals. And of course, we can look back at other people who've committed crimes and seen the treatment of them. If you want to go back as far as the Humboldt Bronco bus crash, even though that's an accident, you can go back to the person just recently who tried to run over a protester in Alberta, I think it was. They were okay for bail. You get so many people for political reasons who are allowed to be given bail no matter what their charge is. And somebody who is trying to give some people their rights back or protesting for their rights is not given bail, put in shackles, and treated like they're an enemy of the state. And maybe from Justin Trudeau and the Liberal and NDP point of view, Alexa, she is an enemy of the state. So is it that surprising that they want to treat the person who they think has done the worst thing in the world? Is it surprising that they want to treat her this way?
I'm not really surprising. She was able to raise almost $10 million to go against almost the narrative of the government. So for everybody who tried to go against the narrative of our government are criminal right now. Well, at least
apparently,
look like. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's probably why.
Now, when you were up there, did you find, and I was asking Lincoln Jay about this yesterday on my show, did you get the feeling as time went on that the government was really trying to turn this into making the protesters look like criminals? Did you see any reflection between what the government was saying and the people on the ground? Did it make them feel like they were being treated as criminals, or did everybody sort of act the same the whole time? Or did the government's opinion and the news, CBC and CTV, did that make the feeling change while you were there?
But I would say that most of the people who were on the ground didn't listen like the mainstream or didn't listen like the press conference. They were there for a reason, and they were there whatever they were saying on them, and they know that they cannot. Most of the time they say that we are not trusting the mainstream, so why we are going to watch them. So the ambience didn't change for the almost 3 weeks that the supporter and the trucker were there. They were all really close, lovely, and peaceful, and they were helping each other. Whatever they say that they were criminal or terrorists or whatever. But the thing is, like, for the government and so the politician or mainstream, since the beginning, same before the first day arrived on the 29th, the campaign of discreditation of the movement have already started. So I don't think it make a difference through the day, because it was the same narrative about them. And it was just putting more and more and more discreditation on them to try to make them look like bad people and violent people and racist people. And I can say more bad name, but it would be like the same result.
How is the French media portraying this? Because the reason I ask is because the Bloc Québécois voted with the Conservative Party when it came time to vote for the Emergencies Act and ending it 2 different times. Bloc Québécois voted against it. So I'm wondering how the French media portrayed this if the governing party of Quebec was against the use of the Emergencies Act.
But I would say that, first of all, I think Mr. Legault was not really for the Emergencies Act. So it's our premier. So probably if François Blanchet had actually joined a little bit our premier in Quebec to say that it reflects what the Québécois wants. But I didn't really follow much more what was in the politics, because in the ground it was like always keeping eye open and following the news. So it's just right now that I'm actually reading a little bit more about it. But I know that, the Premier of Quebec said that it was not really justified. I think it was not necessary to use the Emergencies Act. So I think because if François Blanchet have always said that it was reflecting the Québécois at the federal level, so it's probably why he say that it was not necessary to use the Emergency Act. But as you say, he joined the Conservative for it. Sorry, I didn't follow that part.
No, it's okay. They voted alongside them twice, and the reasons they gave in the House of Commons was because they didn't think it was necessary. They wanted to see some sort of negotiation first. I just thought it was interesting, given that Quebec had the harshest lockdowns, and now they're kind of separating themselves from the Liberal Party in the sense that they're really condemning everybody. And Quebec had, as you're fully aware, restrictions and curfews and everything like that. And then all of a sudden they don't agree with Justin Trudeau condemning these same people that they seem to be against. But the Bloc always has to throw a curveball, and I don't know why, and show that they have some sort of power to swing a vote. It's very interesting. Where do you see the people going in terms of this? Do the people of Quebec, do you think, are they ready for everything to be lifted? Is everything lifted yet? Do we have dates for that sort of stuff? Like, we just got rid of our vaccine mandate here, and they're saying the mask rules will be gone in a couple weeks. What's it looking like in Quebec?
Can I move to Ontario?
We want to move away from here, too, so it's step one, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I think step one for me would be Ontario, because you have more freedom right now than us. For us right now, it's only for the SAQ and the big surface shop that like Costco, Walmart, the vaccine passport have been lifted. But I still don't understand, because the vaccine passport was there for what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? So I don't see really the scientist point of view of it. But right now they are talking about the 14th of March, but I think it has been postponed. They are thinking that maybe they would be postponed, because I'm not sure they will remove it for real. Because we received so much promises from Premier Legault that at the end he changed the date last minute, or change all the rule last minute. So I will see when it will happen, but I'm not believing any promises right now from coming from our government. We cannot trust any word that what he say, because they say, oh, we will not put in place a curfew. Oh, we will use the curfew. Or we will not use this. Like they were talking like, oh, we just put in place the vaccine passport for a certain amount of time. Oh, and after that, it was more longer, and afterwards, it were implemented everywhere. And we cannot trust it at all. It's what.
I agree, and I don't know why they can't give a date yet in Ontario either for the mask mandates. They're saying a couple weeks, just a little bit longer. I don't know why they can't just give a date. I don't know why they couldn't have done it as soon as the vaccine passport was lifted, but here we are. And still in Toronto, mainly, there are places like the Toronto Zoo, which is taxpayer funded, I believe, which are continuing the vaccine passport. I don't know if there's an article we have about that we can throw up, but one of their reasons was because we don't want to infect the animals of the zoo, Alexa. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a good enough reason. I mean, obviously, mostly you're going to have children going out there with their parents. Children aren't very at risk. We have to be careful, of course, on YouTube what we say. But what does this say? Well, as of March 1st, the Ontario government is lifting the requirement for certain businesses under the regulations. Toronto Zoo will continue to be, enforcing the vaccine passport, which is very interesting. I don't know why you would do this. I don't know why. To me, Alexa, it's somebody who works there, maybe the president of it or something like that, that says that is a very political stance, and they say no. But I guess everything is political like this now. And, maybe they found out that some of the animals were Russian and they have to kick them out. Who knows? Well, let's transition to a bit of that, because people are complaining because John Tory, the mayor of Toronto, was out marching with Ukrainian protesters yesterday, which is now, protesting is now okay again. We can now It's now an approved thing again. Once it's for something the government likes, nobody's going to be arrested or called a terrorist for that. Do we have footage for that? Of course, he's wearing his mask. So this is blocking the street, obviously. So it's okay to block the street when the government agrees with what you're protesting. That's pretty much where we're at. This is why when I grew up, you're supposed to protest anything. Protesting is allowed as long as it's peaceful, you know. But now it's become the case that it's only what the government approves of. And I noticed that somebody wrote a blog about the last time I talked on a live stream about the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms and the right to protest and everything, and that person wasn't very smart, and they thought that they don't realize that I talk about the fact that we have that part of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms all the time, that there's that part that says that they can take away the rights whenever they see fit for safety reasons. But if we're saying the pandemic isn't over, which I know John Tory isn't, he's saying it isn't over. I know he's not saying that we can go back to normal. That's why he's wearing a mask outside. Why is it okay to walk next to each other in a crowded area? I don't understand the logic here. Why is it okay for him to go outside in a group of people, masked or not, if everything else can't open up completely without masks? So he should be condemned. If he was consistent, he'd be condemning the person next to him for not wearing a mask, but he's not going to do that, Alexa. What do you think about this whole situation? How much do you want to get into the whole Ukraine-Russia situation, Alexa? You tell me.
For me, I just, it's just like the pandemic. I'm just taking another side. So now it's not a pandemic because now we don't talk about super spreader event or anything else. It's not about health anymore. It's now it's about the war. The war is there. So every focus I've just turned to another side, and now it's just instead of being vaccine and COVID, and now it's word and flag of yellow and blue, and just you know what is going on. Right now they want to ban the Russian vodka on the ACQ, ULCBO, the liquor store. And now the people who have a shop that is writing poutine for the poutine, the meal, they actually remove it for writing French gravy and cheese. I was like, really? It's going as far as that?
Yeah, it's going. They're basically applying everything that they did to unvaccinated people, all these rules of making them other and not wanting to work with them. They're applying that to Russia now. Now, I'm not saying go support Russia and Vladimir Putin. Obviously, he's not good. I'm not going to say support Ukraine either. I don't agree with either government. I really don't agree with what Ukraine, their president says, and all this propaganda they're constantly putting out. I get it. They're in a war. My point is I'm not going to go out and support both sides just because it's the trend thing to do. Putting your flag, the Ukrainian flag in your name or the pin is the new BLM black square. It's the new, whatever you want, the raised fist, support the rainforests, whatever it is. That's the new thing. That's the media is going to jump all over it because they need ratings. But for me to just go along with all this, it's just not going to happen. It makes me very suspicious, Alexa, that this is just the new thing that all of a sudden the Conservative Party wants to bring over all these Ukrainian refugees. And what I was going to get to was the fact that we're now otherizing anyone involved with Russian stuff, just like they did with COVID stuff or with vaccination stuff. So now they want to kick them out of the Olympics. They're kicking them out of the World Cup. They're kicking the soccer teams out of international tournaments in Europe, which doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what kicking out a soccer team has to do with the government of the Ukraine. And now, I don't know if you can find an article on this, producer, but Wayne Gretzky, I read, is calling for the Russian team to be pulled out of the World Junior Championships and double IHF competitions, which is the International something Hockey Federation. And to my response to this is you're punishing literal children. The World Juniors is 17, 18-year-olds. If you're lucky, you got a couple superstar 16-year-olds. Same with the Olympics. You can have 16 and 17-year-olds in the Olympics. In soccer, it's going to be rare that you have a 17-year-old, but that's not the point. The point is you're punishing literal children who are trying to make a name for themselves and get a career in hockey in the biggest international tournament of the year, the World Juniors, where it usually is Canada, Russia, United States, Sweden, those 4 countries, sometimes Finland, Czech Republic, you know what I'm saying, where they push themselves on an international stage and they get contracts in the NHL or they get contracts in Europe. And now you're telling these children that because of what their government does, they shouldn't be able to work or play. Now, imagine if Russia did that to Americans, let's say 10 years ago over the war in Afghanistan or something. There's a lot of players that play hockey from North America and other countries in Russia. Basketball is another sport, and soccer. What if they just said, we're kicking you guys all out because we don't agree with America's involvement in Libya or Afghanistan? Of course, you might say that's their right to do so, but this is the standard we're now gonna apply to everything. If the government that you come from the country you come from, does something that this country doesn't like, that Joe Biden doesn't like, or Trudeau doesn't like, you can no longer work. And I think we just lost Alexa, but you can no.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. She's back. If the government that you come from does something that our government doesn't like, you can no longer work. And the second thing is, what about China? What does China have to do? What does China have to do to be cut off from the world like that? China has concentration camps. They have terribly low wages. They kidnap people who disagree with them. They invade Taiwan, Tibet. They colonize African countries. They do all of these things. And Russia, you don't have to agree with what they're doing. They're involved in a conflict with a neighboring country. Bad. But what does China have to do to get these same treatment from America or Western countries? When have Chinese, athletes ever been kicked out of anything by America? I'd like to know. When have Chinese businesses been kicked out? When did people start, destroying, Chinese products in response to something China has done? It's because, in my opinion, the financial ties in America to Russia are you can very easily wipe your hands of them, and there's not going to be a big effect on this side of the border or on this side of the hemisphere. If you start cutting off Chinese things, then all of a sudden a lot of businesses are going to be underhanded. They're going to be losing a lot of their infrastructure. They're going to be losing a lot of their supply chain. It's so easy to do something like this against Russia because it's the fashionable thing to do, Alexa, and because it's something that doesn't cost them a lot of money. Now, having said that, America doubled their crude oil imports from Russia last year. It's only up to 3% of their total imports, but still, while they're banning everything from Russia and while they're condemning Russia and supporting Ukraine, they're still saying, hey, your oil's good enough, but your vodka is not. And meanwhile, let's bring in everything from China. Meanwhile, Trump had harsher sanctions on Russia, and now all of a sudden it's just the most convenient thing, and I don't know what the meaning behind it all is. It all seems suspicious. You can go back to Hunter Biden and Joe Biden with their dealings in the Ukraine. You can go back to Ukraine bombing the rebels, the Russian-speaking people that live in Ukraine and are on Russia's side. You can go to this pipeline that Russia wanted to put into Germany that got stopped because of this. There's so many angles. And Alexa, I just don't believe it. You're going to have to try harder to make me believe something like this. When the government the next day is wearing Ukrainian pins and marching down the street, and they're talking about it in the State of the Union within 24 hours of all this stuff, and I'm supposed to be just following this, you're going to have to try harder than that, Alexa.
For me, it's just too big. Again, as we always saw, something too big and would take too much space, and we see that everybody have the same narrative again. Mm-hmm. It's something is going on. You cannot just have one narrative on something. You need to have at least a debate or seeing both sides of the story to make your mind being able to judge what is right and what is wrong, and who is the good and who is the wrong, or maybe both is wrong, or maybe both have good point, but we cannot see it because on what is showing right now is just one side. Russian is the bad person and follow the Ukrainian one. That is it's mostly like children like figure, but it's what is showing to us. And on the fact is for me like putting as well like the citizen of the country that we don't agree with and we don't like, we punish them too, because we say your government is wrong, but all of you are wrong too, and we will punish the citizens that are actually not it's not their fault at the end, but we will punish all of you for what your governments do because we are not agreeing with it, and it's actually we are punishing like your country, all of your country. It's just something. I don't agree with it.
Yeah, it's like I said. I think it's making people agree with something by force, just like they did with vaccination. You must disavow the unvaccinated, and you must disavow Vladimir Putin, or else you're a bad person. What I also find interesting is why Ukraine and Russia. There's so many conflicts around the world, and there's never this whole movement to support it. What about Sudan or the Yemenis people? So much terrorism going on in those countries. What about Hong Kong? That's a big one. There was never this huge global push in support of Hong Kong when China was going against them. And even more closely, when Russia rolled their tanks into the country of Georgia, we didn't see a reaction like this. We didn't see Georgian pins. I think it's because of political and financial corruption involved with Ukraine and the United States.
And NATO.
And NATO.
NATO is there. NATO was not supposed to go in the east, and NATO went to the east. So, and NATO is not, Ukraine is not a country that take part of NATO as well. So why NATO is there? Because Ukraine say suddenly, oh, I'm really open to join NATO.
Yes.
But if it was like Russia that say, oh, I'm open to join NATO, what will be like the narrative?
They would say, no, of course not. That's not allowed. I want to show some clips from the State of the Union address from last night, and I want to encourage everybody to give us their opinion on the paid chats, on Rumble Rants, on Odyssey Hyper Chats, and Super U Shouts, I believe it's called. And if you want to go ahead and tip us on Twitter, you can as well, and we'll read your comments about Ukraine and Russia on air. What do you think? Are we completely wrong? Should we be supporting Ukraine? Should we be boycotting all these Russian people? Let us know. And I also noticed, Alexa, that you're wearing a Rebel News hat and possibly sweater as well. Okay, can we bring up the store? This is a great promotional segue to promote the rebelnewsstore.com. We've got producers in the back typing away, not paying attention to us. No, they're just on the ball. Just kidding.
I ordered my truck, fringe minority truck outlet. I'm pretty excited to have it.
I wanted one of the hats. Julian store guy, if you're watching, send me my hats, please. Rebelnewsstore.com.
I like, seriously, it's nice when it's nice furniture. I saw a lot of people wearing some Rebel news. So yeah, it's the shirt there, the fringe minority with on it is so beautiful. Yeah.
You look like you just stepped out of a photo shoot for Rebel News, Alexa. Like you have a closet where you just close the door and immediately open it, and you're in Rebel News gear. So you can go to that. You can use a promo code Andrew10 if you want to get 10% off at checkout. I'm sure you can use Alexa10. Everybody's first name with a 10 after, depending on who you like. Obviously, you like us French people the most. I might be more French than you, Alexa. I'm sorry to let you know. My family's been here for 300 years. So I'm taking over as the chief reporter for Quebec from now on. Whatever, fine. The comedy is not translating. We're getting crickets over here. I'm gonna have to add in the laughter later. Let's bring up the State of the Union stuff. Joe Biden making stupid mistakes. He's old. He doesn't know where he is. Yeah. Do we have the clip of him saying? I think he says Iranian or Uranian or something like that. I was watching it, and if you clue in, if you click on halfway through it, you have no idea what he's saying. He can't speak in consistent sentences that it makes sense. I tried to tune in and I didn't understand what he was saying. Do we have any clips ready? Okay, let's throw something up now.
Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people. He'll never extinguish their love of freedom, and he will never weaken the resolve of the free world. Putin may circle Kyiv
The Iranian
with tanks.
people. He's a brilliant man. Now there was another. You're looking very confused, Alexa.
Yeah, I think he. Oh my God, that was kind of a mistake, huh?
Just a bit of one. Imagine if Trump. You can always go back. Imagine if Trump said anything like that by accident. They say he's telling the truth. He's telling what he really feels. And then there is this weird one where Nancy Pelosi is rubbing her hands together. It looked like a meme in itself. I think I sent you guys that one as well. One of the most confusing things I thought was at the end of the speech, he said, God bless you and go get them. God save our troops and go get them. Yeah, this is really weird. This creeps me out. Let's let it play again. I don't know if she was going to start clapping, but...
I've been in and out of Iraq and Afghanistan all the time.
Obviously, that's somebody laughing. But it's really weird. It's no... remember when last time when Trump did the State of the Union, she pre-ripped the paper so she could stand up and rip it in the background. Nobody made any big political statements last night. Did you get a chance to watch any of that, Alexa?
No, I was actually trying to finish one of my my report on the convoy. Yeah, I tried to make it's a lot of job. Huh? Have you been there?
The convoys? No, I haven't been. Wow, shots fired, Alexa. Wow, she's really going after me today.
Yeah. Go and get him.
Yeah, go and get him. Can we show that one? Wow, Alexa, I thought you'd be nicer to me.
One America, the United States of America. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you. Go get him.
Of course, nobody knows what that means. And then I watched right after that, and everybody shaking Joe Biden's hand after that was at least 100 years old. It was just a who's who of who's who. You know, Maxine Waters and people from the Squad and Nancy Pelosi and all these other people who really they've served their time and they should no longer be there. And you really got a good look, Alexa, of the people that are running the country straight into the ground. And it's people that don't care. They've been there for so long, they just want to collect their money. And I think that's what most of this is about. Putting stuff in place that's just going to make the money. Now, they say you can't trust any politician, and I agree. But when they put through these bills, like the stuff that he announced last night, I don't believe that there's anything good that they want to do. When I hear that they want to institute a new bill or a new program, all I hear is I want to give my friends money, and that's generally what we're getting at here in Canada. Every time a new bill comes out in Ontario and we don't have any money, we're very far in debt. It's who's getting the money this time, whether it's the electric car plants or it's subsidies for building a new hospital, and nothing ever changes. We never have more beds. I start to think that everything is just putting money in people's pockets. And now...
yeah. You just realized that?
No, Alexa, I'm just commenting on it because I want to transition to... Cut her feet. She's giving me a tough time today. I want to transition to the new legislation that the Liberals want to put through for more gun control, which I was reading earlier today. I don't know how much of that you got to read, but they basically want to go further with their gun restrictions. And this guy, Marco Mendicino, is promising this will stop gun crime in Canada. So what they're doing is they want to ban more high-capacity magazines. The limit's already 10. I don't know how much more you can you can go. I guess you could go to two bullets per magazine. And another thing they want to do is they want to empower, just like they did with the vaccine passports. They don't want to be responsible for it, but they want to empower provinces to ban handguns, and they will give them $1 billion to do that. They also want to do a mandatory buybacks, which means, of course, confiscate more of your guns that are on the list, and they will add more of it. And you can see right here in the CTV article, they call it guns that they just deem to be assault-style weapons, which of course has no definition because they can't define it, because mechanically it's the same, so they just have to make a list of guns for them to ban that scare them. And Alexa, I don't know how much pushback we're going to get in this country from something like this, whether it's from the Conservative Party or not, because at this point, I feel like 2/3 of the country will just go along with whatever we're doing. Do you agree with that?
But I think, like, first of all, why putting, again, more the regulation for guns? We have already some regulation. You need to be registered. But that would just provoke the fact that, okay, how you would deal with that? Are you going to search all the private residents for if the people have guns or not? That would just create a black market of it. And that would be actually worse if they put kind of law on so, and I think it's not a good idea for me, but for now I have the impression that we don't have any opposition, so probably the law will pass. If the emergencies act pass, do you think that will pass?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason why people in the United States are against, federal background checks as a part in terms of getting your name put on a list or a gun registration list, because what people fear happening is what will probably happen here. If you don't give back your guns, then the government has a list of people that own these guns, because you have to register everything, and then they will come to your house and they will charge you and they will take your guns away from you. Keeping Canadians safe from gun violence. At least a couple of those look like they're airsoft guns to me. A pink gun and everything.
I never saw that.
Yeah, I don't think we have much opposition in this country, and I don't think anybody but the people of Alberta and maybe Saskatchewan will stand up against it. Everybody else in the country will just say, guns are bad, let's just go ahead and keep getting rid of them. And then they'll throw out some statistics like in Australia, they got rid of guns in Australia and there's no more school shootings, but forget about the rest of crime. That's fine. We don't have any rights there. But I know my enthusiasm for this country is at an all-time low, Alexa. Do you feel it?
I'm not believing anymore in everything that's going on here. But I would say probably we should have some guns like Ukrainian people that when some part is falling in the TV. Have you seen that one?
Yes. Let's bring up some of those. Yeah, the guy whose magazine is not in. I don't know why. His gun probably isn't working is why, or else it would just snap into place. There's been so many people caught, or just images used, frankly, of fake imagery. We have the guy whose gun magazine falls out. They were promoting this, I think she was a model or an actress or something, and she was using airsoft guns. Yeah. They had the picture of the two guys using cardboard weapons was another one. There's the two cardboard guys, or wooden, excuse me. And like Fox News it gives me it makes me sad that none of these people look at the actual images that they're portraying. There is also another video of a woman yelling at a Russian soldier. There's a video of a child yelling at a soldier that is actually a Palestinian. There's a clip of Anderson Cooper that people are circulating that's from I think 2018. There was a building explosion was actually from a gas explosion that people used. So the excuse that people use, in my opinion, is that it's a time of war. There's always going to be propaganda, and of course that's true. But these are the same news companies that will always say, you know, there's so much misinformation and disinformation out there. Meanwhile, they're tweeting out a picture of a guy who's a comedian photoshopped onto a fighter pilot, the ghost of Kiev. It's the most classic wartime propaganda to say that there's some mysterious fighter pilot who's killed a whole bunch of people. I think that's been used in every single war.
Yeah, probably.
What else can we have to talk about here as I bring up our thread of topics? Want to throw something up on screen for us, you guys? Okay, so one of the articles that I've been seeing lately is MSNBC really pushing it, I believe, that there's a war within a war happening in Ukraine, and that's right. I'm a genius. A war within a war. Transgender woman says transphobia and discriminatory laws keeping her hostage in Kiev during Russian invasion. To hell with your bombings and keeping your family safe. The real war here, the real story is that my transgender rights are not being properly recognized during this time of war. I don't care if your family gets bombed. You are not recognizing my pronouns. Let me put on my glasses. We'll read some of this. Or Alexa, you want to read some of this? Everybody loves when you read.
It's actually blurry on my side.
Okay, I'll do it then. I'll put on my old man glasses. Z. Fuamelu was born and raised in Crimea, an area of Ukraine that was invaded and taken over by Russia in 2014. I don't recall actually wearing any Crimean pins during 2014. I don't recall any social media campaigns for Crimea, actually, so we're a little bit behind on that. So now the 31-year-old lives in Kiev, the capital city that's been under siege for nearly a week. She's running out of food and hadn't left her house for days as gunfire erupts outside. Of course, that's sad. She can't leave. But here's the real story. Famelu, who's transgender, said that transphobia is pervasive in the city and neighboring countries, and fears that if she leaves, the tensions of the ongoing conflict will make her more susceptible to violence. So, excuse me, war, gunfire, bad. Having to survive as a transgender person, worse, apparently. So things are going to be way worse because this person is transgender. You found like one of 4 transgender people in Ukraine, and this is what the story. This is a real war, Alexa. Do you think this is worthy of our focus? I know you do.
You know, I'm really open-minded on everything, but I think that is going out of the focus of what is going on right now. It's like telling of people here at the moment, oh, you are continuing to protest against for your freedom when people are dying in the world, or like selfish you are. I was like, yeah, but the different fight, different focus. I don't know. It just because something happened, you need to completely like forget everything about it. Like, I don't know. It just this one is just maybe she should have probably bring it before the war, because it's probably not appear in the same time of the war. It's probably something that is going on since a while. But why bring in that up when you have a war? Just because all the focus is on what is going on there, and there. So she say, oh, now is my moment to go out and talk about what is going on about transgender there. But I don't think it's a good moment.
Why didn't this person leave with the rest of them? They're saying that everybody else left their floor and left their building. I don't know why you would stay if you're not fighting. I don't know. But you're right. This is not a good time. I don't know why this would be the time to bring it up, but I don't know. I guess people need a story. I know something that we can get you riled up with. The World Economic Forum. I know Alexa Lavoie wants to talk about that. And the New World Order. There is a protest going on outside of World Economic Forum's headquarters. Yes, they have headquarters all across the world. I don't know why they need one, but maybe it's just a place you can go, like a hostel. If you're part of the World Economic Forum, you can just go stay there if you need a hotel room or something. But on Madison Avenue in New York City, there was a protest yesterday, and I wrote an article about it. I think we can play some of the clips from it. There's a group of activists that have been frequently protesting in New York against Justin Trudeau and his involvement with the World Economic Forum and stuff like that. And they've been making their voices known for a while now. And it's very interesting to me that finally, and I think we were talking about this before, Alexa, people are now starting to see that this is out in the open. And I know people have been saying that for like 20 years. It's in your face. But you see, there's a protest there. People like using the Canadian flag now for freedom, which is good. But Alexa, we were talking before this about how this was just the biggest conspiracy you could be a part of before, and now it's basically it's right out in the open. Do you think that it's going to start moving to something else now that everybody is aware of this stuff? Do you think that they start to shift away from the World Economic Forum and do their planning somewhere else?
Yeah. So when we just look like at the beginning, just taking like the pandemic. When people were telling, like, oh, it's going from a laboratory of Yuan, and that was a big conspiracy theory. But now it's actually a reality. Like, everybody are not denying anymore and say, like, yeah, it can. Mm-hmm. We will never have really the real story because nobody wants to go out of the water. But I think now that everybody is talking about it, and not only just the normal citizen, but as well mainstream media, legacy media, and like some of the politics. So it's something that is going on, and I think it will develop on something else. More and more people will talk about it, and we will have probably more information that's coming about it too. It's my personal thought.
There needs to be, I think, a new world leader in one of these countries that has a lot of power. That was the thing with Trump in power. It was hard for them to really sweep everything through because they didn't have America going along with them. But when you have Biden saying Build Back Better, you got Justin Trudeau, Boris Johnson, and Australia, New Zealand all agreeing with everything at the same time, it's very easy to implement all this policy across the world at the same time. Mm-hmm. Now, what everybody thinks is coming next is some sort of large climate change policy that's going to have everybody staying at home again, working remotely, reducing car emissions and taking cars off the road. And I don't know how quickly that's going to come. Joe Biden has stuff in his infrastructure bill that would tax your car mileage every single time you go to work. You can get bursaries for it and everything, but I think they're going to work it a little bit down the road because it's too soon, because everybody's going to notice if it comes too close. Hopefully they don't do it at all, but I think they're going to start slowly trickling out higher prices on gas, which we're seeing, and higher prices on all forms of energy, unless it's green energy. And I don't mean by green energy more efficient, more environmentally friendly energy. I mean the green energy billionaires that stand to benefit from this, no matter what it might be. I don't know how you feel about that.
Climate change, it's I would say, funny topic. Why? Because when I was in university, it was the topic of the moment. Mm-hmm. It's been almost 13, 14 years of that. We still talk about it, but nothing has been made for doing a changing on it. We still do the same thing as before. And suddenly, oh my God, we have no time anymore. We need to do something. Like, the crisis is there. Everybody would die. We don't have any more resources. And everybody is making in panic. No, it's actually the same thing that's happened in the recent past years. So they use another topic for change, because everybody now doesn't follow anymore the rule about the COVID, because they see that nobody is dying from it anymore and everybody is getting it through. And so they say, nobody's following anymore. What we can use? Oh, climate change.
There was an article I was reading yesterday from the UN put out new climate change predictions and new climate change numbers. And I believe the new number is 13 years, or 18 years, excuse me. So by 2040 is their new projection. And they're saying for every half a degree, and I could be off by a little bit, but for every half a degree, they're saying, a large amount of people are going to die. They haven't been too specific yet, but they're warning again, the UN scientists, that if we don't change course in 18 years now, everything's going to be irreversible, which of course, I thought it was supposed to be 2030 is when we needed to do it, and then 2050 net zero is what they were saying. But as we get closer to everything, they're changing. Yes, this is the article I was talking about. So a lot of doom and gloom in this, not a whole lot of substance as you go through this article. And I read this yesterday, and they talk about the UN government panel on climate change report Monday. If human-caused global warming is limited properly to a couple degree, thank you, that's better, couple tenths of a degree in Earth now struck regularly by deadly heat. I think that was up. Yep. Deadly heat, fires, floods, and drought in future decades will degrade in 127 ways, with some being potentially irreversible. So in 127 ways in 18 years, we could possibly destroy the Earth. And they don't even get into any specific numbers of what's actually going to happen. No claims of any amounts of deaths. They just say, a tenth of a degree of a Celsius, or 2 more degrees there, or 3 to 4 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 times the floods, storms, droughts, heat waves. It's very non-specific. And then they don't even stick to the scientists' opinions. They say, climate activists are alarmed. The person we spoke to says this could be, they called it, I think somewhere down there they call it a death list or something like that, or a doomsday list. But, I just wanted to show you guys that they're constantly updating. And now that they've gone and updated their threats on society for another 18 years, it seemingly never ends. None of this stuff seems to come true, and then they just come up with new things. And I prefer... Go ahead.
Can I show you this? This was published on 1983, okay, in the newspaper in Quebec, saying that if we follow what the prediction of the scientists about the climate change, in 2000, we will not have snow, and it will be a old memory.
It's true. We don't have snow anymore.
I'm sorry if I'm looking outside. I'm actually almost buried on the snow. So
I don't even think you're in Quebec. I think you're somewhere else.
We just need to be careful on the prediction. We just need to be careful on the prediction, because a lot of people say so many things, but we don't have number. We don't have specific, research on it. Like when we receive it, it's always wavy. We don't have specific final sorry, I just missed the word at the end. But we don't have the real number to say, okay, it's concrete, it's there, it's coming. It's always maybe will happen this, maybe that will be something else. It's never clear.
No.
It's always okay, something will happen, or we don't know when, but something will happen.
I'm just waiting for the next Greta. They had David Suzuki's daughter in the 90s, and they had Greta a few years ago. We need a new teenager to tell us what to do. We're running out of time here. Do we have any paid chats to put on the screen here? Any tough criticisms? Alexa, you are courageous and hardworking reporter. Rebel News is even better with you. Thank you. How do you feel, Alexa?
Thank you.
Cry for us, Alexa.
I feel
Cry.
No, but it's just reporting come with a price, and if I was not there, nobody knew what is going on for real in the front line. And I think I I did it not only for everybody, but I did it for myself too, because I wanted to know what will happen that day. So, but thank you so much. It's really appreciated. Thank you.
How's your leg bruise doing?
I still there.
Yeah.
It's healing a little bit. It's still a little bit painful, but I think at the end of the week, you should be okay.
We need to get you hockey equipment next time you go out for that. And shout out to your team there, Guillaume and Maxime Boivin, Rebel News translator, and of course, what's Guillaume's last name? Should I even say it?
Guillaume Roy.
Oh, right. Yes, I forgot about that. Guy Roy, yeah. We love those guys. Yeah, we're pronouncing it Roy. Yeah. We got to pronounce it as English as possible. Max Boivin.
Okay.
Max Boivin and William Roy, I believe.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm betraying my people with that. Any more paid chats to get to here? So Fraser says, when Trudeau ended the emergency, he kept the ability of freezing your bank account with going to court. This is via Odyssey. I don't think this should be allowed for anything, not for a Canadian citizen. But the threshold, that's the problem. We have so many problems with determining how our laws can be implemented now, Alexa, because whoever's in power can say, this person's a terrorist, we can freeze their bank account. Who knows what the next person's going to say? Are they going to say climate activists are terrorists next? I don't think I agree with any of it.
And especially like the mother that gained like middle wage salary, who had the children, and she donated like $50 for the convoy, and her bank account was frozen. So you choose really the wrong person on all this story. Like, and it's your money. You donate what you want to do. It's charity. Since when we punish people to donate for charity at the end of the year? Nobody, only the Freedom Convoy.
Mm-hmm. There has to be some sort of threshold, but then it needs to be debated on. But then you can just say, well, look, the NDP and the Liberals are going to agree on everything, and everything's going to pass anyways. It's a very tough position, and I'm looking forward to the new government led by Alexa Lavoie of Rebel News, whatever that's going to look like.
Yeah.
You fascist. Any more?
We'd be in French.
Okay. Unbelievable. First language is French. Spend another $2 billion a year keeping everything in French. That's what I say. Okay, Alexa, I think we're out of time here. Anything else you want to tell people what you're working on right now so we can stay tuned for your next video?
Yeah, so I'm looking of, I know that a lot of people were thinking about the flag, at the first weekend when we were at the Freedom Convoy. We saw like some picture going around social media on the Nazi swastika flag. So I'm investigating on this, and as well on the lawsuit. Yeah. And as well on the lawsuit of $306 million that are against the supporter and some organizer that the citizens of Ottawa are suing for the loss of their job and the loss of their wage.
That's very cool. So the flag that everybody saw the first night in front of the hotel, and you're investigating that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be a good one. I wonder who it was. I'm going to be watching, Alexa. Thanks for doing that. I know people have been asking a lot. I know True North put out like a bounty to find out who that was. They couldn't find out who it was. So I hope that comes out really well. Everybody, if you want to see my show with Lincoln J that comes out this Thursday, tomorrow night, ad-free version on Rebel News Plus. We talked about his time in Ottawa. We talked about Russia and Ukraine and a few more things. So if you want to check that out, subscribe to Rebel News Plus at rebelnewsplus.com. More Alexa every day on her Twitter. What's your Twitter again? Alexa the Voice?
It's the Voice Alexa.
Excuse me, the Voice Alexa. Will I get tweets in French on there as well?
Yeah, some of my tweet is in French. I have no choice. I try to...
80,000. Oh, my goodness. Wow, what a superstar you are. I am. I'm getting crushed over here.
I knew it. Don't cry, please.
I cry every night. Nothing will change that, okay?
Sorry.
I cry in St. Hubert sauce for you. My favorite sauce.
What?
Thank you, everybody,
Saint
for
Hubert. Oh, yeah.
No, I'm
true.
saying it in English. Saint Hubert.
Saint Hubert. I need to give you some.
You do. You owe me at least 3 cans of that. I was promised.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
A care package of Saint Hubert sauce, Joe Louis, and I don't know what else. Pepsi's.
But don't forget, now you cannot call it poutine. You need to call it French fries, cheese, and grease.
Yeah, you can't call it that anymore. And it has to have a Ukrainian flag on the side of it. Thanks everybody for watching. Alexa Lavoie, follow us on Twitter. I'm at Andrew Says TV. Have a great day. Thanks for the paid chats. RebelNewsPlus.com for my show. See you. Remember,
Bye.
The world's going to end in 18 years. 18 years. 18 years.
Oh, my God.
Bye, Alexa.
Bye-bye.
Manitoba, Alberta, Ontario, and Nova Scotia, they've all lifted their vaccine mandates, and other provinces have followed suit. Why? Because it's safe to do so, and they care about mental health and their economies. Here at the federal level, we have a Liberal government that is dragging their knuckles because they become so backwards and regressive in their thinking when it comes to the need for restrictions. When will the Liberals come out of the dark ages and see that vaccine mandates are so yesterday? When are they going to remove the federal mandates?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, on this side of the House, we ground our decisions in science. We continue to believe that keeping Canadians safe is extremely important, but I will highlight that Canada has made significant movements on restrictions at the borders to enable for more Canadians to travel safely and less onerously when they come home. And we will continue to look carefully at what more measures we can lift or move forward on to ensure that Canadians continue to be safe while getting back to the things we love. Canadians expect their governments to keep them safe. That's exactly what we're doing.
Here, here.